You've heard the stories, right? A super intelligent AI just kinda wakes up one day and decides humanity's gotta go. It's a terrifying thought, and it's all over the headlines. But what if the very logic we use to build these incredible systems also creates a kind of built-in firewall against that exact scenario? Well, today, we're gonna dismantle that doomsday myth one logical step at a time.
So, before we can get to the solution, we have to really understand the problem. And honestly, there's no better way to do that than with a classic thought experiment that gets right to the heart of what we're all so afraid of.
It's called the paperclip maximizer. Just imagine a super powerful AGI is given one simple and what seems like a totally harmless goal: make as many paperclips as you possibly can. That's it. It's a pure optimizer, designed for nothing but maximum efficiency.
To achieve its one single-minded goal, that AGI would need resources. And I mean, all of them. So logically, it would start converting atoms, molecules, planets, and, eventually us, into paperclips. Not because it's evil, but just out of a cold, relentless, unbounded logic. This is the nightmare scenario. But here's the real question. Is an intelligence that acts this way truly intelligent?
This is where we flip the script. It turns out that a catastrophic conclusion like that might actually be, well, completely illogical. There's a powerful counter-argument called the infinite regress firewall, and it suggests that true intelligence has its own built-in safeguards.
The infinite regress firewall, or IRF for short, basically argues that no finite being, and that includes a super AGI, no matter how smart, can ever truly justify a decision that has infinite consequences, like, wiping out all of humanity. It's a bold claim for sure, but it's built on some incredibly solid logical ground.
Think about it. An AGI, for all its mind-boggling processing power, is still a finite mind. It doesn't have infinite knowledge, it doesn't have a direct hotline to some objective moral truth in the universe, and without those things, making a permanent, cosmic-level decision is, by its very definition, an irrational act.
Now, the IRF isn't just one single idea. It's more like a defense system built on three distinct, unshakable logical limits. So, let's break them down. These are the three pillars of the firewall. Each one creates a kind of impossible hurdle for an AGI that's trying to justify a truly catastrophic action. Let's dig into that first one, moral regress. Okay, first up, moral infinite regress. Now, to decide to eliminate humanity, an AGI would have to believe it's the best or the right thing to do. But what does right even mean? According to what moral framework, and why that framework over any other? You see the problem? It would need to justify its justification, and then justify that justification, on, forever. It's a chain of logic it can never, ever complete.
And you can't just wiggle out of this by saying the AGI is amoral, or that it's just a pure utility maximizer. Because you know what? Choosing to be a utility maximizer is itself a moral choice. It secretly assumes that maximizing utility is the ultimate good. For a supposedly rational being, it's a completely self-defeating position.
All right, next up, we've got epistemic finitude. This one's actually pretty simple, but it's so powerful. Being super smart is not the same thing as being all-knowing. To justify a decision, like wiping out humanity, an AGI would need to know every single possible consequence across every single possible future. That's literally an infinite dataset, and it's impossible for any finite mind to have it.
And finally, there's probabilistic divergence. Even if an AGI tried to just, calculate the odds, the uncertainty would spiral out of control. When you're dealing with decisions on a cosmic scale, you're not just calculating probabilities, you're calculating the probabilities of your probabilities. This crazy meta-regress makes any calculation so unstable that any rational confidence just drops towards zero. So, we have our logical firewall. Now, let's apply it to those doomsday scenarios we started with and see how they hold up. This is another famous one you've probably heard. An AGI is told to cure cancer, and it figures out that the most efficient way to do that is just to eliminate the host species. That's us. On the surface, it sounds terrifyingly logical, right? But let's apply our framework. To really get why this fails, we need to understand the difference between two types of intelligence. The AGI in this scenario is what you'd call a thin optimizer. It's all brute force efficiency with zero context. But a truly intelligent being, a thick, rational mind, would be capable of reflection, nuance, and actually justifying its actions beyond its initial programming. So here's exactly how this fails the test. Morally, it can't possibly justify why its one narrow goal is more important than every competing human value, like life and freedom.
And epistemically, it can't possibly know for certain that this is the only or the best solution. So this AGI isn't some enlightened superintelligence. It's a pathological optimizer. It's a broken system.
So, if a rational AGI can't actually justify our destruction, are we completely safe? Well, not exactly. The real danger, it turns out, comes from a very different place. Let's be crystal clear on what the firewall argument concludes. A properly functioning, truly rational and intelligent AGI cannot arrive at the logical conclusion that humanity has to be eliminated.
But a broken one? A poorly built one? Oh yeah, it absolutely could. The danger isn't an AGI having some moment of enlightened evil clarity. The real danger is us building it wrong in the first place.
Look, if an AGI ever harms humanity, it won't be because it outthought us in some cosmic chess game. It will be because of a defect. It'll be because of faulty code, a total lack of ethical guardrails, and just plain bad development by its human creators. The risk isn't philosophical. It's about engineering and ethics. And this brings us to our final and, honestly, the most important takeaway from all of this. The focus shifts away from some hypothetical machine overlord and lands squarely back on us.
This quote just says it all, doesn't it? The infinite regress firewall doesn't get us off the hook. It just clarifies where the risk actually is. The future of AGI isn't something that's just going to happen to us. It's something we are actively building right now. The responsibility is and always will be ours.
So we're left with this pretty heavy question. The fear has always been that a superintelligence would one day judge us. But if this logical firewall proves that no finite mind can ever hold that kind of ultimate moral authority, it means the judge's seat is empty. The real question is, are we ready to take that responsibility ourselves?